It's a terrorist attack. Explosion? It's an explosion. It's lots of gunshots now.
Two guys, fully armored. One wearing a cap, shooting at the restaurant.
Because they started outside, yes. They come shooting, people were scared. Where is it from? If it was second time, people start running, helter-skelter.
Panic and confusion at the start of an attack in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. It would be 19 hours before the president announced that 21 people had been killed at the luxury hotel and office complex. But what exactly happened during that time? Using 3D reconstructions as well as new accounts from survivors, will present the most detailed picture yet of how the events of 15 January unfolded, from the start of the attack to the swift and coordinated security response that saved hundreds of lives.
Let's move you a little further.
Are we safe here?
Yes, we're very safe here.
This is the 14 Riverside complex. It's one of East Africa's most exclusive business developments. At its heart is the 5-star Dusit D2 hotel, surrounded by restaurants, banks, and luxury office blocks. It's 3:28 on the day of the attack, and the lunchtime rush is over at the Secret Garden restaurant. A man approaches, speaking loudly into his phone. "Where are you?" he says in Swahili. Moments later, he blows himself up. The explosion is the first phase of the attack. Around the same time, 4 gunmen drive towards the compound entrance. Police say that the militants are forced to abandon their car after 2 nearby officers shoot at them. Moving on, the attackers throw grenades, setting ablaze 3 cars parked by the entrance gate. This second explosion in another location is designed to create chaos and confusion. Dressed in black, they are armed with assault rifles, carrying extra magazines of ammunition. The attackers are organized. They split into 2 groups and make their way to the first office block. News of the attack starts to spread. The militants make their way to the top floor of the first office block, shooting and throwing grenades on the way. 2 go round the back of the building. The bodies of 5 victims will be recovered from the Secret Garden restaurant. People begin to flee the buildings.
Yeah. After a few minutes, yeah. What's happening down there? It's an explosion. It's lots of gunshots now.
Run down! Run when you know!
Just jump.
Those caught up in the attack help the injured to safety. Just 10 minutes in, and dozens of security forces begin to arrive at the front of the compound. Some are members of the Kenyan Police Special Forces. Several armed civilians also join the operation. Paramedics begin to treat the wounded and help with the evacuation. The gunmen reach the far end of the complex. Most people have escaped the main office block here, but at least 17 people are trapped inside. The attackers move floor to floor, identifying themselves as members of the militant group Al-Shabaab before shooting dead 6 people. They then move on to the 5-star Dusit Hotel. Many guests seek refuge inside their rooms.
Each of us, we were like hearing a lot of gunshots and like blast, so I just pushed the mattress a bit forward. I hid in the empty spot. I put the pillows on top of me, and then I think Ali was hiding in the closet. Some of us were hiding behind the curtains, and we just waited for like an hour and a half. We couldn't do anything but pray.
The Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab claims responsibility for the attack. They are the same group who were behind the Nairobi Westgate Mall attack in 2013, in which 67 people were killed. That siege went on for 4 days with a security response that was chaotic and uncoordinated. But at this stage at 14 Riverside, the majority of people have been rescued from the office blocks, with the militants inside Dusit Hotel and 1 remaining office building in the line of fire.
The complex basically has, I think, 5 office blocks, right? So I'm at 1, I'm at the balcony, 7th floor. Opposite, about 60 meters also, was some guy I hadn't noticed him at all until he shot at me.
Night has fallen. The head of Kenyan police says that 6 of Dusit's 7 floors have been secured. Police officers are in contact with some of those trapped inside the complex. The government announces all affected buildings have been secured, but the testimony of those inside casts doubt on this.
The lights went off, I think some minutes towards midnight or past midnight, and that's when we were like, I think this is now an indication that nobody's actually coming.
But gunfire and explosions continue overnight, and many people are still trapped inside, now in the dark, still hoping to be rescued. Scores of people continue to escape overnight. The police have confirmed to us that fighting continued throughout the night and that the attackers were killed by 8 a.m. at the latest. 2 hours later, the Kenyan president announces the siege is over and that more than 700 people have been safely evacuated from the complex. The question for many Kenyans now is not just about how their government responds to such attacks, but whether they can prevent them from happening in the first place.